And welcome back to Who Will Win pre-recorded on Thursday for Friday, just because I find it easier on my day off to do it. And this one comes to us from Spooky Richard. Spooky! Should have done this during Halloween, but not necessarily a Halloween one. Spooky Richard. Spooky Richard asks, I'm going to be doing that every time I say your name, bro. Spooky. Spooky Richard asks, who would win a fight, the Predator versus the Terminator? Now, obviously, you did not specify an actual model of the Terminator in your question. You didn't specify T8, T850, 1000, X, 3000. You didn't specify any of them. So I had to treat it like it is the original Terminator model. That's generally when people say the Terminator, they usually think Arnold. So that's who I'm defining as. And I'm not defining it as a T850, which is a different model. I am defining it as a T800. Versus a Yautja, the Predator. Now, with the Predator, I generally go with a Predator who is usually either just solely the Predator we see in the original film, or an amalgamation of like the Predator from Predator 1 and Predator 2. Because that seems, I mean, they're not the same character, obviously, but that seems like, you know, a reasonable, like, Yautja warrior on a hunt, having the tech that you'd have on him. That was ripped. So the Predators, the Yautja, are an alien race of hunter warriors. They have a hunter culture. They are very proud, honorable warriors. And they are very good at what they do. They are immensely strong. Like, your average Yautja is usually even a small one is still like in the 6.5 to 7 foot range. But like 6, 7, sometimes 8 feet tall. The super predators are even larger. And then there's the like upgraded predators from the Predator. I'll admit, I'm falling into the camp of people who like the most recent Predator movie, but I'll admit, I'm like, that was kind of like that ideology was kind of dumb. But yeah, they're generally much larger than your normal human, much heavier, much thicker, much stronger. Like this is an individual who could manhandle Arnold with no problem, just holding up with one arm. And Arnold in his prime was a guy who weighed easily in the 200 some odd pound range, like easily to mid 200 range of pure muscle, and he was manhandled by this thing with one arm. So a Predator is no slouch when it comes to physical combat. That said, they don't normally go into physical combat unless they feel the opponent is worthy of that challenge. Normally, as a hunter, they're hunting. They're trying to hunt you through other means, not necessarily come and fight and get my trophy. No, it's like a bow and arrow, like a hunter, tracking, trapping, that kind of thing. And as such, he brings the tech for that. They don't really wear body armor, although they do have body armor. But during a hunt, it's mostly like you versus your quarry. But they do have obviously their camouflage, which bends light. Basically hides you from the naked eye, unless your opponent, say a android/cyborg, is able to see in different fields of vision. Their gauntlet is equipped with several different varieties of tech, including their famous wrist blades, which can vary in length a little bit, but generally speaking, they're about a foot long. We see actually in, I think, is it Alien versus Predator? I want to say it's Alien versus Predator. They can shoot the blade out if like it's damaged. Like when it gets xenomorph acid, it becomes useless. They can just shoot it out like a gun, basically, like a harpoon gun. We see that again in Predators, where the Predator, after getting injured, lands that shot in the I can't remember the woman's name, but the sniper's shoulder. The gauntlet also is where the invisibility tech comes from. It also holds basically a small nuclear device. The Predator also comes equipped, obviously, with his plasma caster, it's a plasma cannon, but plasma caster is another term for that. It's kind of like Chewie's bowcaster. Basically fires a concentrated shot of energy, a concentrated shot of plasma. And it's powerful enough to blow up, trees, weaponry. How it would fare against the exoskeleton of a T-800, we'll get to that when we get to that. But if we're also including the Predator we see in the Predator 2, in Predator 2, including the tech he brings with him. He also carries with him a homing disc that is capable of, it locks onto the targets and just, it's tracking its technology, and he can grab it and use it as such. He also has a net that is capable of, and we see, it's actually the first time we see the net. It gets brought back in Predator versus Alien. It's a net that basically twists and tears into the target. It's unknown what type of metal it is exactly. There's also the spear he carries as well, which is highly durable. We don't know what metal these are made of, but we know it's not found on the periodic table of elements. I like a fan fiction I once read had him fight Wolverine, and it's basically stated that their weapons were actually made of vibranium and adamantium. I'd believe that. So yeah, the Predator is highly intelligent, highly strategic. It is a predator. It's a hunter, so it needs to be smarter than its quarry, which is why the human race is such an impressive creature for them to hunt, because of their intelligence. They're able to beat them on occasion, which is why they find them such worthy adversaries. Either way, though, the Yautja race is a powerful warrior race. They're one of the stronger alien races in the world they live in, though they're not the strongest. Like the progenitors, or the space jockeys as they're called, they're generally depicted as stronger and powerful than a predator. But still, they are a dangerous race indeed. The T-800, obviously, if you've ever seen a Terminator movie, you know about Skynet, how this AI went live and basically just deemed humans, the problem, and nuked us. So the remaining survivors of that attack had to be fighting Skynet, this advanced AI, and to combat the remaining vermin, it created its hounds, the T-800s. Actually, there are multiple versions we've had. There are multiple Terminators. I actually can't remember if there was a T1, and then it's like T2, T3, T4, all the way up to the 100. I don't think that's how the models ultimately worked, because we went from like the T, I think it was like the T, what was Sam Worthington's character's model? T7 or T6? No, the T6 were the ones that had the giant gats on their back. But it was he the T7, and then you went to the T8. So I think they were modeling it like 50s or with hundreds. Point being, the T800 was considered the real kind of game changer in the Terminator hierarchy. Sam Worthington's character was kind of the precursor to this, but the T-800 was the first real game changer, able to copy human flesh perfectly, look like a human, talk like a human, if you will. Unfortunately, the T-800 does suffer from the fact that while it is a learning computer, it is not anywhere near as advanced as T-850, despite being not that much more of an upgrade in terms of its designated number. It actually was a much greater upgrade in terms of what it was capable of doing. It was made more durable. The later models were made with tungsten that didn't melt in superheated metal. It was capable of learning and actually learning to feel emotions and, actually interacting properly with the world. So, the T-850, while not huge in terms of like the model number, or much better in terms of the model number, was actually a significant improvement over the T-800. T-800 can blend into the crowd, no problem, although it's huge. But it's still very much a computer with a goal. With that being said, though, the T-800 still was far stronger than any normal human. Obviously, it's an android, but technically it's a cyborg, but it's an android, because having human skin on you doesn't actually make you a cyborg. Being legitimately part human would make you a cyborg, which none of the Terminators are, except for Connors and Genesis, but that's a different thing entirely. So T-800 still durable enough, like it can take gunfire without any problem, but the Terminators have been, especially T-800, have been blown up with like pipe bombs, obviously the compress. They can keep going even after they've been basically destroyed. Like, as long as they got limbs to move, they can keep going. Obviously, being a computer means it can do a target shot perfect. Capable of really any weapon, using any weapon available, because it has the entire Skynet system in its database. So it has all the weapons knowledge it needs. Shotgun. Yeah, I mean, if we're taking the AT-50 into the equation with what it had, we can give it the Gatling gun as well. I mean, Death Valley gave it like all of its stuff, but that's not what the Terminator usually comes equipped with. It can't bring weapons with it. The TX was able to do that, but that's through different means. And those means were not available for the T-100 model. So, I mean, in terms of what these guys bring, I mean, in terms of weaponry, Predator's bringing the weapons. Let's assume that he thinks the T-800 is a human. A very powerful human, that he sees it killing people, so it decides this is its core. This is my prey, and it's tracking the Terminator. Terminator's kind of minding its own business, but because it's a machine, it should be able to pick up on the Predator where a normal human wouldn't. So be it through noise, infrared, whatever, it is. The Predator just kind of the Terminator does stop at one point. Maybe it's in an alley or something, or maybe it's actually going to a forest clearing, tracking someone. And it actually stops and analyzes the situation a little bit and kind of just points his gun up and actually fires right at the Predator, who he sees, and the Predator just it's like, you cannot, your technology is unfamiliar to me. You cannot hide though. My Cyberdyne systems can follow your body heat and figure and trace your noise and the sounds you make. And then Predator basically hears this, and Predators do understand our language. So he realizes that, oh, okay, this guy can see me. This is interesting. Okay. So to basically retaliate, he just fires back his plasma blast, and it hits the Terminator, because the Terminator, well, it can run. The Terminator can run. It's not that fast. He's not like human reflexes per se, in the sense that he's like, whoa. But he can move if he needs to. He's not RoboCop, where he's literally just can't seem to run. And so the plasma caster does hit. It glances off him though, because he is able to kind of see it coming and avoid to some degree. Though it does reveal, it reveals everything. And the Predator is now actually seeing this, analyzing, realizing, oh, this is a machine. Now this isn't as much fun now. But then Arnie, we'll just say Arnold. Arnold comes out with the shotgun, starts firing at the Predator, but son of a and a shotgun might not kill, unless it's deer slug, and even then probably wouldn't kill a Predator right off the bat, because Danny Glover fired how many rounds into that thing, and it got back up without too much difficulty. It's like, you're one ugly motherfucker. I actually really like it, Predator 2. A lot of people don't. I do. I also know a lot of people who do like it though too. The Predator does go down, but he quickly gets back up and says, oh, okay, all right, you might be a machine, but he's worthy prey. Let's do this. He fires the net at him, and the net does grind into him, causing the skin to bleed, but the Terminator just finally just snaps it, and now they kind of go in, and the Predator just, this is getting me a big say. Throws the disc at it, but the disc just kind of bounces off the exoskeleton. Now, I should note that Arnold's face is still there, but it is starting to, because of the net, the skin's starting to peel off. Like, one of the eyes is exposed, a bit of his jaw's exposed, but he's still coming at him. And basically, these two kind of just clash at each other, just boom, grab each other, and start duking out a little bit. Now, when it comes to physical strength, that is a bit of a tougher question. Does the Predator actually match the Terminator in terms of physical strength? I might argue, yeah, because we never really seen a full depiction of how strong at least a T-800 is. We can imagine that it could probably handle its own body weight and more, but so can the Predator. In fact, we've seen, like I said, we saw a Predator one arm lift Arnold, who weighed well over 200 pounds. Probably not 300, just because he's jacked, but he's not like that heavy. But like probably in the 240, 250 area, maybe. And if he can do that with one hand, that means he can handle probably at minimum 500 pounds worth of force and weight pressing against him. Whether the Terminator has that much physical strength, we don't know. It's very likely or possible that it could, but I just don't know. My guess is that the Yautja actually his natural strength actually does supersede the Terminators a bit. But that doesn't mean it's easy for the Yautja. Like even the Terminator might actually kind of look at the Predator as it's actually forcing back and actually have a look of not concern because it's a machine, but actual confusion. Like this does not compute. This thing is stronger than me. And just the Predator's. But again, Arnold has the advantage of having an entire data system of fighting style. So he quickly kicks the Predator in the chest and then comes in again, starts landing shots on the Predator, taking the mask off, and then firing back. The Predator fires its plasma cannon again at it. Boom, it hits the Terminator. The Terminator now, the first blow hit was glancing, but it's still, if that had been a solid blow, it's very, because we know the Terminator actually can't take many plasma shots because in the future battles, they can't do that. They are relatively easy to destroy that way. And that's a concentrated bolt, whereas the other one's just like a laser. This is like a big round energy blast we see. Or like, a compressed bullet. So it does hit. Now, I do think they can take maybe like 1 or 2 hits, but even the first hit, the metal is sizzling. Like his like CPU and internal mechanisms are like readings like hot. This is hot. Like you can't take a lot of these. And even that now he's got to show self-preservation while he's dealing with the Predator. The Predator, meanwhile, is just like, oh, that hurt, and he immediately grabs and Terminator immediately hovers over the Predator. Predator is able to fight back, but he tears the cannon off the Predator's back. Predator just roars in his face, takes the gauntlet, and just tears his face off at this point. Now you just see the T-800 face right there. He's just cutting into the Terminator. The durability of that metal is only so strong. We know for a fact that the Predator's metals are stronger than Earth metals. Or at least stronger than your average Earth metal, to be sure. And that was, Advanced as Skynet became, it's still Earth-based. So its metals are still, whatever is available to it. And so it is tearing pieces of the Terminator out. And Terminator is detecting damage and realizing, okay, I need to do something or I will be destroyed and defeated. So the Terminator, again, just trying to target weak points, targeting injured points that he knows he either hit the Predator already or there's an injury on the Predator. Fortunately, he still has another gun, one of his guns. He still has his handheld and just starts unloading the thing in the Predator's stomach. The Predator just starts punching him right in the gut, and the Predator is now in pain. But the Predator quickly just bum rushes him like a linebacker, just on the ground, and it takes a spear and just jamming it into him. The Terminator, though, it's just, he's starting to have trouble moving, but he's still going. Just grabs on the Predator. Predator just finally just stabs him right in the eye with the blade, and and then it's done. Like the Predator, the T-800 is just done. Like he basically just destroys the brain, if you will, of the T-800. Predator basically then just takes the head off, and this is his trophy. And to be honest, that would be a cool trophy. I'd want that trophy. Ultimately, though, yeah, while I think it would actually be a really tough battle, and if this were a more advanced model, like this were just a T-850, for example, Terminator, the Predator might actually lose that fight. Because they upgraded that with tungsten, so something like the plasma cannon would not be as effective. But long story short, yeah, a T-800 model probably isn't going to be able to beat a Predator. It would probably give a good fight, though. Like, it would not go down easy. Which is why I played the scenario out as I did. But ultimately, I would give it to a Predator. I would give it to a Yautja. Ultimately, though, that is just my opinion. What do you think in the comments below? Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed. Like, comment, share, subscribe. Hit that bell if you want notifications. That's it for today, because this is Friday's video. I got my what if on Saturday. That's about it. And then I got the stuff on Sunday I normally do. So until then, thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed. Like, comment, share, subscribe. And I will see you folks next time. Later.